The School of Athens, a presentation by Harrison Dietz. Raffaello Stanza de Rabino's Stanze de Raffaello in the Vatican Palace are awe-inspiring in their grandeur and propelled Raphael to be recognized as one of the greatest artists ever. The rooms were commissioned by Pope Julius II in 1508 or 1509 to redecorate the second-floor apartments of the papal palace at the Vatican. Pope Julius II felt very strongly about not living on the first floor, where his reviled predecessor, Pope Alexander IV, occupied, and wanted to renovate and completely refurbish the rooms. Upon seeing Raphael's fresco work, assisting Bramante, Pope Julius II ordered the frescoes that had already begun to be destroyed and entrusted the decoration of the rooms to Raphael. It must be noted that although Raphael was constantly working on the frescoes, he depended on helpers to complete the scenes as the workload was massive. Raphael would typically work on the main wall scenes, with his workers decorating the bases, vaults, and even the most important scenes if Raphael was too inundated with too much work. The first room Raphael frescoed was the Stanza della Signatura, as pictured here. The original intent Julius II had for the room was to be used as a study and a library, and he wanted the decorations of the room closely linked to that purpose. The decorative design of the room was guided in part by a theologian of the Roman Curia, Raphael's training at the court of Urbino, of which emphasized Renaissance Platonism. That room was divided into 4 branches of human knowledge: theology, philosophy, poetry, and justice. These 4 branches are subsumed by 3 overarching themes: truth, goodness, and beauty. Raphael dazzlingly represents these themes in the entire room's fresco cycle so as to give form and expression to the humanities' most praiseworthy attributes. In the lunette for the philosophy, Raphael painted the School of Athens. Philosophy at the time included all of the sciences and mathematical disciplines. That was what Raphael intended to display. Pictured here is the philosophy tondo above the School of Athens. And this is the ceiling of the Stanza della Signatura, which demonstrates the 4 branches of human knowledge. This is the School of Athens. Raphael exemplifies the ideal of philosophy by painting 2 philosophers dividing philosophy into 2 separate concepts. We can identify the persons at the center of the painting because of the books that they are holding. Plato is displayed older, and in fact he was Aristotle's teacher, but also he is holding the Timaeus, one of his own books. Plato in the School of Athens, his picture is based off of Leonardo da Vinci. Aristotle, to his right, holds his own book, the Ethics. Both of these books represent the contrast in the philosophies that the 2 men shared. The philosopher Plato points up, denoting the truths that can be discerned. He is concerned with that which is the ethereal, the theoretical, that which could not be seen. He believes that the world before us is not the final truth, but there is a realm that is based on mathematics and ideas that is more true than the world before us. The colors that Raphael employs to picture Plato additionally draw attention to this theoretical world, as Plato is wearing purple, which is associated with ether or air, and red, which is associated with fire. Neither of these things hold weight. This philosophy of the ethereal sets the theme for the right half of the fresco. On the side of Plato, we see philosophers concerned with issues of the ideal. The lower left corner, we see Pythagoras, who was a great ancient mathematician who discovered laws of harmony in mathematics and music. This further adds to the idea that there is a reality that transcends the reality that we see. This theme is seen in the statues of Plato's side as well. The statue of Apollo, the god of the sun, the god of music, and the god of poetry is pictured. These attributes would be more in line with the philosophy of Plato. To Plato's right, we see Aristotle is pointing down, calling for that which is before us, the here and now of things that can be observed with the senses, the physical. Aristotle is wearing blue and brown, which are associated with earth and water. Both of those things have weight. On the lower right, we see where Euclid, who is associated with geometry. He is pictured drawing a geometric diagram for his students. He is interested in measure, or the philosophy that Aristotle is calling for, the idea of the practical. Euclid's features are modeled on Raphael's friends Bramante, the Great, architect asked by Pope Julius II to provide a new model for a new St. Peter's. This was appropriate for his reincarnation here as Euclid, as Bramante's design for St. Peter's was based on perfect geometry of circles and squares. The statue on the side is Athena, the god of war and wisdom, who, fitting with Aristotle's philosophy, is involved in the more practical affairs of man. Raphael also included himself on the right side of the painting, along with some of the most important astronomers of all time, including Ptolemy, who theorized about the movements of the planets, and the first philosopher, Zoroaster, who's holding a celestial orb. By including himself in the painting, Raphael is considering himself an intellectual that is on par with some of the greatest thinkers in history. The building structure that is in the School of Athens, we have a coffered barrel unit and pilasters. Raphael drew influence for the background from Bramante's focus on perfect geometric circles and squares in the vault, but also the structure was influenced by the ancient Roman ruins. Tracing the perspective of the orthogonals through both the floor and the architecture in the background of the painting has the eye focusing on the vanishing point. This is where Plato and Aristotle are. This was a strategy that put much greater emphasis on Plato and Aristotle, as visually the viewer's eyes were drawn towards the vanishing point. An interesting fact about the School of Athens is that Raphael had not placed any names for the persons in the painting, with the only identifying writing being the titles of the books that Plato and Aristotle held. The viewer is meant to understand who the person being depicted is through the movement and emotion that the person is portraying. Raphael also employed the use of contagismo in the School of Athens in painting Pyramides, whose clothes are red in the shadows and blue in the highlights. Additionally, the person behind Euclid also has an outfit that transitions from red to blue through shadows. Focusing on the three truths and dividing up the study into 4 separate branches of knowledge allowed Raphael to delve deeply into a range of ideals and concisely and powerfully express them. Raphael's masterful works of art in the Stanza del Signatura not only entertains the viewer with its colorfully detailed images, but highlights the best features of humanity through formidable frescoes.